How much sugar are you putting on that?
Listen, it's to the taste, and this is my taste, okay? But what's
Your
important...
taste is diabetes. Okay, so what was expensive then? If chocolate and wine is not expensive...
Seafood.
You don't need seafood.
I know you're super excited about all the history and all the nostalgia that I have shared with you about the 80s and the 90s in Spain. But you only have seen the surface, because today I have a wonderful story to tell you. So, did you know that back in the 80s, we only had 2 channels in Spain?
Like 2 TV channels?
Sí, teníamos TVE1 y TVE2, Televisión Española 1 y Televisión Española 2. Now, the first channel, Uno, it had like the news, the TV shows, the kids, cartoons, and everything. And usually the 2, it was all about documentaries. So, like, mostly nobody will watch TV2.
So you only had one
because
channel.
It was like the boring one. So we only have one. And so I remember like turning on the TV. Well, I'm doing this. No. Así. No había mandos. And I remember like, we all sang the same songs in school and everything because we all watched the same thing. So it was like the country was united. And there are 3, 4 shows that I really love back in the 80s and the 90s that I'm going to show you.
Okay.
First one, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3?
Yes.
That's the name of the show?
Yes.
Okay.
Couples will go to the show and they will compete for prizes. They will choose the envelope they want and the presenter will ask the question.
Who decides these questions?
The envelopes were already with the questions.
No, I know, but who's the one that decide what questions?
The writers of the thingy. But listen.
Hawaii.
And so this group were like the teachers. So if you make a mistake, they will stop because there's a clock going, right? So they will stop and they'll tell you whether, you made a mistake and why you made a mistake. And if you run out of time, then there was another lady with a campana, tiling, 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 and it will stop, right there, and then they will make the count of how much money you got.
And this is like a show you used to watch as a kid?
Yes, and it was every single Friday night. We all watched this, and it was like a 2-hour show that we'll watch. But listen, so this is the first part, right? So from this, they eliminate one couple, so okay. 2 pass. Again, there's shows in between the competition and everything. But in this case, so there were dancers. And then the challenge for the couples is who dances best. So they picked the guys and they had to dance the 7 bells dancing. So that's why they're dressed like this.
How old is this show?
So this aired from the 70s all the way into 2004.
I feel sorry for anybody, like this gentleman here. To look at this 20 years, 30 years from now, I'm like, man, I was doing that.
Yeah, like imagine, like some of these people might be like grandpas right now.
Yeah.
If
showing their grandchildren, hey, let me show you this TV show I was on.
So anyway, the second part was like more of a physical ability kind of thing. So dancing or whatever. Like I remember in this episode, the ladies had to put something in their head and turn around with it. And it will lose the one that left the thingy drop. And if none of them drop it, then they have to count how many turns they do. And the one that did most turns is the one that wins. Okay. And after this, the last couple.
There's more to this show?
Yes, it's a lot, baby. It's a lot. It's a whole thing. So once one of them get eliminated, and then the last couple that is standing, they receive articles, right? So there's a show again, dancing, singing, whatever. And as they finish, they bring to the table, they said, okay, we have this and this and this. What do you want? And then the participants say, well, I want the Barrio Sésamo cup. So they bring the Barrio Sésamo cup. And then there's a card down here. And then they bring other products. So then they have to eliminate one product. So they pick up the card, for example, and they said, okay, you want to eliminate Barrio Sésamo cup? Okay. So in this couple, and then she tells a story. And then there's a moment that she stops and she's like, should I continue reading? Because that's like your last opportunity to say, I want to keep it, or yes, you can get rid of it. And then after that, she read the award that was coming with it. And it could be a car. It could be 1,000,000 pesetas. It could be an apartment. It could be anything. Or it could be a bag of trash.
So you don't know.
You don't know.
So you got to kind of pick which one is the best thing to keep and which one you got to get rid of.
Exactly.
This is a very complicated show. Very complicated.
It is complicated, but it was very entertaining, and we were all like, you know, and when the commercials will come, we'll be like suffering, like, can the commercials be done already? Because like I want to keep watching.
So this is like, I would guess like this would be the thing that people used to go to work and talk about. Did you see how they didn't win that car or like 1,000,000% those?
Yes.
I didn't hear.
And there was a section actually. Again, there were comedians too, right? And some of the most famous comedians that we had later on in Spain, that we still have them, used to start there. Yeah. So one of them was the duo Sacapuntas, and a lot of our viewers have asked me to show you this song that they sing.
Cantándole 22,
22, 22, 22, 22.
52?
Yes.
What is 22?
So every time that they will come dressed up like that. They will say jokes. There will be a comedian, and then every time that they exit, it was 22, 22.
¿Qué es 22?
22.
Sí, pero ¿por qué es importante?
Because it was important. They will tell you in the comments. Don't worry.
I know we had tons of shows. Like we had like The Price is Right, and for me, The Price is Right was like a show that I always dreamed of going on as a kid.
We had The Price is Right as well, by the way. It was huge here. But we had the Spanish version. We didn't have the translated version. We had our own production and everything.
Sure, I probably stole it and did your own thing with it. It's okay. I understand.
We probably didn't even know that it was a show coming from the U.S., FYI.
But anyway, Price is Right was like my show as a kid. Like I just like the fun part, like they call your name, then you run down, and then you got to guess the prices. And then I wanted to always spin the wheel. So Price is Right was like my kid's show of like TV stuff I would watch. Like even though it was more for adults, it was my kids.
Yeah, but the thing with The Price is Right is that it was just about the
guessing the price.
It
wasn't
it wasn't as intricate as this, and it was so cool. And the thing is that everybody, adults, children, everybody, if you were in the pueblo, if you were in the city, like everybody was watching. Amongst other things, because we didn't have another channel.
This shows me a big part of why Spain is the kind of way it is, because you guys really go really far with the entertainment. Like, it's not just, hey, you know what, let's do this.
Yeah.
And, you know, this would be our show. It's, no, let's do everything all at once in one show. We're going to talk about the prices. We're going to answer some questions. We're going to do a little bit of dancing.
We're going to go traveling in your mind.
We're going to tell some jokes.
Yeah.
So, okay.
It was awesome. Now, the other show that we grew up watching, it was called La Bola de Cristal.
La Bola de...
And I know this is going to shock you a lot. Do you remember Alaska? The singer that has the black hair?
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, so she was a big part, if not the main presenter of La Bola de Cristal, okay?
Oh, boy.
So I picked a segment for you, and I want to remind you that this show was made for kids and for juvenile viewers.
I don't like what happens with kids here in Spain.
Okay.
Este es un electroduende.
So there were a bunch of witches.
Verdaderamente.
Zoom,
That's
zoom,
her.
Colombia, Colombia.
What is happening?
So the show, even though it was for kids and juvenile, young kids, the idea was that they made you think. So it was like a critical thinking show where they post a theme, in this case, beauty pageants, and how that affected women and in general society.
How does this have anything to do with kids?
So you will be aware that these kind of things exist.
I don't need to be aware. This is not for kids.
Yes, it was.
How is that for kids? What kid has to worry about a beauty pageant?
Well, no, but we had to know that those existed and what that did to society and to women overall.
I'm a kid. I want to watch cartoons.
There was cartoons.
That's not a goddamn cartoon. This is the critical thing is for school. Not when I go home and I only got one channel to watch and I got to think when I'm at home now.
Yes, because that's a good thing. And listen, one of the main characters was this lady.
This is creepy.
No, La Bruja Verías. Listen.
This is creepy. This is not for kids. Mi amor. No. No. That is very creepy.
No,
like I would have I'm probably gonna have nightmares seeing that thing.
La Bola de Cristal aired between 84 and 88.
84 and 88?
And according to what I have found out, they stopped showing this show because there were some
Yeah, go ahead. Why?
some differences between the creative writers and the channel directives.
You mean the public saying this is too creepy for kids?
No, I bet you that most of the comments are going to tell you how much we all love this show.
Again, this explains a
La
lot
bola
about
de
Spain.
cristal. Dejar vuestros comentarios. Queremos leerlo todo. Alaska, la bruja verías, todas las canciones, los temas. Everything that was presented to us.
These are not the shows. Like our creepy shows, and this is probably when Nickelodeon came in, was like Goosebumps or something.
See, and when I later on went to the US and I saw the cartoons that you guys had, like the dog that was attached to a cat.
Don't do cat dog.
I thought that was gross and like.
That is.
Why are you watching those things?
This is very far. This is you're going from the 80s to like the.
Y los Simpsons y el Martin y el otro.
Simpsons is okay. Listen, growing up, like y'all might have only had 2 channels. We had channels like 2 through 11, right? And so these are all the main like brands: NBC, ABC, WB, and all that. So for us, there were channels that we stick to. Like for me, it would have been.
And they were niche, right? Like to one thing, like cartoon channel. Oh no.
Well, no, they all had their own purpose. Like maybe one or two, like PBS was very niche. That's like all like children programs, like Magic School Bus and all that type of stuff. Which in my neighborhood, you couldn't watch the Magic School Bus.
Why?
Because even though it was meant for kids, we had a joke saying that you're dumb if you're watching the Magic School Bus because you belong on the Magic School Bus. Because our special needs children used to come on a special bus to school.
And that was the Magic School Bus.
And that's kind of the thing. Very bad. I know.
You guys are horrible.
Yes, we are. But
and you have a problem with La Bola.
I do have a lot because we don't have that for kids. Magic School Bus is a fun show, but for us, I think it was like Fox, like Channel 5 and Channel 11. I think that was WB. I think Channel 11 was WB, but like Channel 5 had our Batman, Animaniacs, between these 2 channels. What else? Power Rangers. All of those was the shows that we watched. So like I remember after school, I'm running home at 4 o'clock because at 4 o'clock is when the kids shows start coming on. So from like 4 to 5:30 or maybe 6 o'clock, that's it. After 6 o'clock is more of the adult stuff.
Got it.
So we will go home, and some of us, I was one of those kids that was stuck in watching Saved by the Bell. So Saved by the Bell.
That got here like in the mid-90s.
Mid-90s?
Yeah. I don't know when the show is from, but I remember like
it was around there.
94, 95 when we started having Saved by the Bell.
But yeah, so that other thing, like those were our channels, and that's how we go back and forth, but not this.
And that was it, like, during those times
so what,
until 89.
Did you have any cartoons? You said you had cartoons.
Yeah, we had Barrio Sésamo.
But who?
Sesame Street.
Sesame Street?
But we had
Isn't Barrio neighborhood?
Barrio neighborhood, sí.
So you had Sesame neighborhood.
Sí. Porque era un barrio.
But it's...
Era un barrio.
It's a street. Sesame Street. What?
No, but
I want to see your neighborhood now.
Escucha. The funny thing, and I think I have a video for you very quick because I didn't want to talk about Barrio Sésamo, but I knew you were going to ask me about something. I'm like, it's going to come. So our main character was called Spinete.
Spinete?
Which is this guy right here.
That was your main character?
Yes, in Barrio Sésamo.
Where's Big Bird?
No, aquí no teníamos al Big Bird. A las cosas amarillas no. Nuestro Barrio Sésamo tenía Spinete.
No.
Y Don Pimpón. También teníamos a Don Pimpón.
No. You can't have... This is probably why it's called Sesame Neighborhood. You're in the wrong neighborhood.
No, mira, y también teníamos a estos dos. A Epi y Blas.
You can't have them and not have Big Bird.
Epi y Blas.
Who?
Epi y Blas.
Epi?
Epi.
Epi?
Y Blas.
Y Blas. What is that?
Their names.
That is not their names.
Uh-oh.
That is not their names.
So what are their names? Epi and Blas.
I can't remember their names right now. I'm thinking of Bert and Ernie. I'm not sure if that's Bert and Ernie. I think it's Bert and Ernie.
Bert and Ernie. Those are names of like adults.
Those are regular names. Listen, it's not the point of what their names is. That what you've named them, is not their name. I don't understand. Why do you have to change?
Epi y Blas.
Epi y Blas.
Spinete.
Spinete.
Estos también. You also had this, right?
No, we didn't have that one.
You didn't have those? They were always singing in every episode.
We had singers. They weren't singing this, is what I'm saying. So, no, we didn't have that.
You are something else. Anyway, we had kid shows like this one or Fraggle Rock. You have Fraggle Rock.
I don't know what Fragel Rock is. I don't listen.
Ta-na-na-na-na. Ta-na-na-na-na-na. Na-na-na.
You're not.
Vamos a jugar. No.
No.
I need to show you because how don't you have? Yeah, you had to have it. This is an English thing.
Yes.
Fraggle Rock.
I don't understand what Fragel Rock is.
And then how is the name?
Well, we had different names for this one here.
Fraggle Rock.
Because you see, it's like the Jim Henson Company. But I believe it was called Fraggle Rock. Yes, I remember this. I didn't watch this, though.
Exactly. Well, we did watch it because
Did
we have one channel.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Since you have all this, did you also have, what was that show that we had in the U.S.? Carmen Sandiego.
No. No, as a matter of fact, I remember like when, being there and people will tell me, oh, you're like Carmen Sandiego. And I was like, who the hell is that? Like I had to Google who it was, but I didn't know.
Carmen Sandiego. I had a crush on Carmen Sandiego.
Really?
We never seen her face, but I had a crush on her because she was so cool. But first off, she traveled the world. She had the red hat and the red thing. Awesome. And there was a show that, there was a cartoon show, and then they had like a game show of it as well, where you had to find Carmen Sandiego. And then the thing that made it so catchy was the damn song. The song was like,
Tell me where in the world is
Carmen Sandiego.
that was it. I just kept going on.
Vale, si alguien aquí en España en los 80, en los 90 ha visto Carmen Sandiego, que lo deje en los comentarios, pero también dejarnos otros programas de televisión, otros, unas series o lo que sea que queráis que Bryan vea y reaccione sobre ellas. Okay, so I have to stop you right now because we're talking about school and I have to show you the product of the week. This is our new segment here in our channel where every week we're going to share something that we're trying from Spain. Sometimes you would have tried and sometimes like today you haven't.
Okay.
But this is a mask. Not only everybody
I've tried
has
bread.
me.
I've succeeded in this.
Sí, el pan está muy bueno, pero este en particular tiene una sorpresa. Y es que por las tardes, sobre todo en los pueblos, nuestros abuelos nos hacían esta merienda. So this was the merienda for kids that our grandparents would do for us.
Why does that sound familiar? No.
Okay, the idea was to use old bread, so del pan de ayer, okay, because it will be like hard, and so you will let the liquid soak into it,
Okay.
and then you will put sugar to your taste.
Sugar on bread again?
Sí, ya
Is this
sabes.
like a staple for Spain? Like, how much sugar are you putting on that?
Listen, it's to the taste, and this is my taste, okay? But what's
Your
important,
taste is diabetes.
what's important is while we were watching some of these shows, we were having some of this. So please.
Oh my gosh.
Lo prometido es deuda. Me lo habéis pedido y aquí está.
I don't even want to do this.
Maybe I should close this. Look at that crunch.
No.
¿Cómo que no? Esto es una maravilla, pero por Dios, no sabes tú de
Why is
cosa
there
buena.
yogurt in it?
There's no yogurt in it.
I said sugar.
Oh, because it's the
Oh my
crunch.
gosh.
Mi amor,
Mi amor,
¿qué te pasa en la cabeza?
what is that? What did you pour on
Pan
it?
de pueblo,
I'm fine with I got the bread. The bread I got. I'm with you.
vino
Wine?
y azúcar al gusto.
Mi amor.
¿Qué, mi amor?
You took two things that don't go on bread and put it on bread. Wine does not go on bread. Don't give me that. Let me ask you a question.
Cuando éramos pequeños,
I don't want to hear it. No.
en los 80,
No.
y en los 70,
Escúchame.
los abuelos nos hacían esto y a nosotros nos gustaba mucho.
Escúchame. When you go to a wine tasting, do they give you bread?
Yes.
No, they do not. They give you queso.
Y hay pan, hay
There's no
pan.
pan. There's no
Hay
pan.
pan.
There's no bread when they go.
Acuérdate de la historia de la tapa. La tapa se llama la tapa porque te daban un trozo de pan para tapar el vino o la cerveza del bar.
But it,
Y de ahí sale el concepto
bread,
de la tapa.
Pan
Había
encima
pan.
vino, no vino encima pan.
Pero el orden de los factores no afecta el
Sí,
resultado.
sí.
The order of the factors don't.
Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't. So tell everybody that loves a tostada that whether you put the olive oil or the
no
tomate
te pases.
primero,
No te
entonces no es
pases.
importante.
No te pases ni un pelo.
Vale.
Lo siento, pan. En fin, last show, Verano Azul, a classic. This show was aired a million times.
Okay.
And it broke every kid heart when one of the main characters died, which was the end of the show.
So a main character dies?
Chanquete.
Oh, so just one main character?
Yes.
Oh, you made it seem like every character was dying.
No.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to show you this because, you guys have Saved by the Bell, El Coche Fantástico, all these shows, and it seems like we didn't have these productions, but we did.
What was the show about?
So the good thing about this show is that it spoke our language in the 80s, right? And it showed the transition of that.
Oh, that red tracksuit.
Exactly. And so there were a bunch of kids that were vacationing in Nerja, in Malaga, in a town in Malaga. And so it was like the perfect summer vacation. Okay?
Okay.
And it was very intriguing because it really reflected where Spain was in that moment. So some of the conversations that they would come out in this show was divorce, which before it was like a taboo thing.
Okay.
The environment, like they started talking about the environment back in the 80s. Things that we never talk about because they were forbidden.
Was this a kid's show or was this for adults?
This was a kid show.
How?
Because it was a vacation and TV show with 7 kids. I think there were 7.
How do you make a kid's show about adult problems?
Critical thinking,
It's
baby.
not why do kids gotta be so critical then? Why are so critical with kids? This is not a kid's show. Granted, I know we had a show called I'm about to say Johnny Bravo, but it's
Oh
not.
my God, Johnny Bravo.
But it's not that one. Is it Johnny Dangerous? No. Was it Johnny Bravo? I don't know. I gotta look it up. Can I use your laptop real
See,
quick?
you can use my laptop. I allow it.
Hold up. Johnny Quest. That was the name of the show.
Quest or test?
Johnny Quest. Did y'all have this kid?
Sounds, yeah. I remember, I know this is gonna sound bad, but I remember because of the Indian kid.
Yes, it is bad. But Johnny Quest was a show that for us was like mixture of a kid show with adult problems. But, it was an adventure and it was educational as well. So that was like maybe the mix of what you guys have. But you guys go too far with this. Y'all put in critical thinking to kids. That's not the thing.
I think that's why my generation, and the immediate before, and my generation, we are like...
Critical thinkers?
No, like we have dos dedos de frente. Like we have really a lot of, well, I don't know. I think I'm saying this. I want to believe that our generation had the most intelligence in a way with the resources that we had.
I see how you just cover that part up. Because I'm just going to say...
With the resources that we have. Anywho, so now you understand why Spaniards are a little bit, like, do you understand more why we are the way that we are?
Yes. I mean, you've been programmed with just one channel.
No, you silly. What I'm trying to say is, like, we had educational shows. We had shows that...
You didn't have educational shows. You had adult shows that they just showed to children.
No.
That is not educational. You might today you might say, yeah, it's educational. But it wasn't. This was too far. This was too much.
I don't think it was too far. I think it was like the right ratio. Plus, the other point was like with our meriendas, do you understand why we don't get drunk like crazy in the street? Because with a merienda like that, who is craving alcohol like crazy at 18?
You sound right now, you sound like in the Avengers, the Hulk, when he's like, you know what my secret is? I'm always angry. So Spaniards are like, we always have alcohol in our system, so we can't be drunk because we're never sober.
Nah, that's not it. That's not it.
That's how you sound right now.
But we had a lot of comments from people saying that you had to try that. So I'm happy that you did. And I want you to reevaluate your reaction towards it because I think there is a deeper feeling right there that you probably liked it.
No. No. The only deeper feeling I have is that thing going through my system.
Okay, explain it to me.
Oh, great. There's a explain it to me as well.
Of course, it's explain it to me. And the explain it to me is, a buen hambre no hay pan duro.
A buen hambre,
no hay pan duro.
no hay pan duro.
And
If
that's-
there's like with hunger, there's no pan that's tough.
No pan.
No pan, no bread.
That when there is hunger, it doesn't matter what you're eating. So there is no bread that is hard. It doesn't matter. So just have that thought process with our meriendas, because we came out of a moment of our lives where life was hard and we only had whatever we had. So grandparents needed to give merienda to the kids. What was there? El pan de ayer, que está duro, lo coges, cortas rebanadas, un chorrito de vino, un poquito de azúcar y au.
I would love to believe you in that. I would love to accept.
con el
I would
chocolate.
love to accept that. I would love to accept that. But I'm gonna tell you something why I don't accept it. And I'm gonna tell you all right now. I understand there could be hard bread, hard times. I'm with you. But if you have wine in your house,
No.
times ain't that hard.
Pero we're in
If you
Spain.
have
Remember that
and
wine.
okay, wine and chocolate in the house.
But for us, chocolate and wine wasn't a expensive thing. It was like a populacho kind of food.
Okay, so what was expensive then? If chocolate and wine is not expensive,
Seafood.
you don't need seafood.
All this stuff. But wine and chocolate weren't.
See, you lost me now. I was with you.
Okay, now you
I
have the
was
too
with-
much American
I was with
thing in
you.
your mind.
But you sitting here saying, "Oh, I'm eating chocolate, I'm eating bread, and I'm having wine." You sound rich and sophisticated.
No, we were not, because they weren't branded.
Is that not the
No,
sophisticated
but
people
look,
think?
the wine, especially in the pueblos, the wine that was used for that was the one that they will go to
It doesn't matter.
to the field and grab the grapes, and they will machacarlas
But you
with their
had
feet
wine.
at home.
So wait, you had a feel that you can go make wine?
Porque vivíamos en pueblos.
Something I don't have.
Ya estamos.
So,
Con el
but do
pueblo.
you not hear how crazy you sound right now?
No, you're the one that sounds crazy that
How-
you cannot take that veil off and
What
just
veil?
accept
You have chocolate, wine, and bread. The only thing
the food of the poor people.
bread is the food of the poor people. Wine and chocolate is not. Heck, in the U.S., all our rich people, everything that's about elegance is wine and chocolate.
Because
And even here,
your country's different.
even here, no, it's no different. Even here, wine and chocolate is like prestige stuff. So you telling me you had this when you were poor,
But they weren't the prestige kind.
but you had a kind.
Yeah, the poor kind.
Guess what kind I had? None. That's the kind I had. None. You know what I had to do to get chocolate?
We don't want to know.
No, you don't want to know. This is some tough times.